The backbone of your entire arbitrage or wholesale business is going to be your ability to source products. Think about it. If you are not capable of finding products, then you have nothing to sell, then you are not making any profits. So if your business is not to the place that you want it to be, then I can guarantee you it's probably because you are not investing enough hours into sourcing. And in order to be good at this, you have to be determined and self-disciplined. Literally carve out 1 to 2 hours every single day and do nothing in that time frame except for source. Get every distraction out of the way. Turn off your phone, don't open emails, don't get on social media, and just invest those hours doing purposeful sourcing. If you do that every single day for a month straight, I guarantee you, number one, you are going to become a lot better at sourcing in general, and number two, you are going to find so many more products that you can resell, and therefore you are going to be making more money. So today, I'm going to be sourcing, and I figured I would bring you guys along with me in real time. I have not looked up any of these stores beforehand. I have no game plan going in. This is exactly how I do my sourcing, and I want you guys to come along with me so you can see my thought processes and how I get it done. But first, take 2 seconds for me really quick. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like this video because it really helps out our algorithms and it keeps us making these videos for you, which is what we love to do. Thank you so much for subscribing, and let's jump into it and do some sourcing. All right, let's see if we can find us some money makers. I am going to come here first to sellers. Let's set the number of products here, minimum 50 and maximum 200. You can play with these numbers. Those are not set in stone. But what I'm trying to do here is eliminate sellers who don't have a lot of stock or don't know what they're doing. And I'm also setting it to 200 so that I'm not getting into those sellers that have massive accounts, all these different wholesale connections that we're not going to be able to get. So by setting the maximum to not be very high, then we're probably going to better find sellers who are like us, arbitrage sellers who we can just piggyback off of what they're just already doing. Number of brands, if they're selling arbitrage, then I'm going to think that they have quite a few brands. So let's go 5 to 40. And again, try to eliminate some of those sellers who have just a massive catalog and we're not going to be able to do what they're doing. Positive feedback rating, I don't want to copy bad sellers. So I'm going to set that minimum of 80. And feedback, I'm going to say they have to have at least 10 pieces of feedback, but not exceed 400. Again, trying to find that sweet spot of sellers who we can just copy what they're doing. USA for our country, and then the state and city do not matter. So with those filters, we are able to find just over 8,000 sellers who we can start storefront stocking all of their products. So that's why I say you need to be dedicated to this if you want to be successful doing it. Literally carve out a time frame, 1 hour to 2 hours a day, and just sit down and do this. The sellers are here. The products are here. All it takes now is you being dedicated and persistent to storefront stocking their products and then piggyback off of what they're doing. So let me filter this the other way. And now I'm starting with the sellers who have the minimum. So by having 50 products and 35 different brands, that tells me that it's probably arbitrage. They're just finding a product and a brand, selling it, finding a new product and brand and selling it. So to see what this seller is selling, I'm going to click right here on the 50 and see the different products. This gives me a good idea if I want to dive deeper into the seller and storefront stock them. So by looking at what they have really quick here, I can determine if the products that they're selling are products that I can also sell. And I see here it's a lot of perfumes. Perfumes come with hazmat, so I'm not going to storefront stock them. I'm going to go back and find a different seller. Amazing deals here, quite a few products. Let's click the eye here and just open it right up into the storefront stalker. A lot of stuffed animals here. So I see the brand Gund, and now we have Squishmallows. I've never heard of this brand name, so I just want to look a little further about this brand. Over 2,000 products that they have on Amazon, 3.61 average sellers per listing, and Amazon is on 41% of those listings. So that might be something to maybe look into in the future when I may be reaching out to some wholesale suppliers, this gun brand. And that's what I really like about doing this model of sourcing is I'm here trying to find some arbitrage products, but along the way, I also find a ton of rabbit trails. So I'm going to add Gund to my possible potential wholesale list of suppliers that I want to reach out to. But for now, let's go back and keep trying to find some arbitrage. I'm going to open up Beauty Pros right into the storefront stalker by hitting this little eye. I've never heard of this Avita brand, but it definitely seems reseller friendly. There are 42 sellers on these listings, 34 on this one. And what's nice about these Keepas is I'm not seeing a ton of Amazon on them. A little bit of orange there, but clearly they're not dominating the listings. But opening it up, it looks like they are on it quite a bit. So we do have some gaps here where there is no cream color and Amazon jumps off, but the sales rank and the buy box look pretty good. Let's check out this shampoo. I'm gonna click the Keepa. This one looks pretty good too, and no Amazon in the past year. So the break even here is $25.26. So I know that I would need to source it and get this product for less than that. Let's go to Google now and see what we can find. It doesn't seem like that is going to be possible. We do have it at Walmart, but $34. Let's check Google for this Avita. So here is the 8.5 ounces, and on their website it goes for $21, at Walmart $19.50, which clearly for one bottle that is not going to cut it. Let's go to the next page. Tons of this Avita brand, but the number of sellers here, that is just a huge number. So to have to compete with 51 sellers, then we would really have to be looking in and seeing, okay, which of them even have the competitive prices and are competitive enough to be going for the buy box? How many people are we directly going to be competing with? And a lot of this Bumble and Bee brand. So we have a tonic lotion, 8 floral ounces, 30 sellers, break even of $14.80. Keepa looks pretty good. Let's check out Google. Far too expensive for us to resell and make money on. However, again, to my wholesale where I will reach out to them directly, I can add that Avita and Bumblebee, and maybe by setting up directly with the wholesale or a distributor, we would be able to get it for a cheaper price. But for arbitrage purposes, let's move on. And this is all you do for sourcing, hours upon hours. Are you going to get slam dunk home runs every single listing that you pull up? Probably not. But if you are somebody who puts in the time and you like analyzing data, then it's not so bad. Let's check out likes and wants. Fabric and more fabric. Not for me. Just Things Central. Let's open them. Oh, here we go. Perfect example of knowing when you found an arbitrage seller. We have a video game, Legos, Crocs, and makeup. Wide variety. Clearly, they are not niche dominated anywhere. They are just finding things that sell well for a profit and reselling them on Amazon. Keepa is showing a lot of Amazon, but just because you see Amazon on the listing does not mean you have to necessarily run away. What you do need to do though is check the Keepa and make sure that the buy box is being shared and Amazon isn't just stealing all the sales. Break even is really low on those, and there's already a lot of sellers, so those aren't going to work. Adidas is definitely going to be something gated that you would have to provide invoices to get ungated with. And Squishmallows is probably going to be gated as well. But for fun, let's request and see if we could sell it. So to check if we can sell it, we're just going to pull the ASIN, bring it over to our Seller Central, click Catalog, Add Product. Paste the ASIN here. And when we request approval, it does bring up a selling application. So that means we would have to go the extra steps to get ungated. Squishmallows is not a brand that we are just auto-approved to sell. Let's check the categories for the seller. Let's see if they have anything in beauty. And we'll also filter grocery. So only those 3, not a lot of products in the niches that I like, so I'll move on. I also like to throw in brands sometimes to the filter that I know I can get my hands on easily. Let's go with the all popular great value. So this seller has 26 different brands they're selling, 172 products, 6 of them being great value. Pretty good chance this is an arbitrage seller. Let's open them up. And that's looking really good so far. Some Trader Joe's, creamer, cookie butter, smells like arbitrage. Red flag for the bagel seasoning, 112 sellers, 53 of them being FBA. I wouldn't even look any further. I'd probably just keep scrolling, especially because the break even is $4.51. So number one, we'd have to be able to source it for lower than that, and it is a 2-pack. Then this also doesn't take into account the shipping to Amazon fees. So we're not going to be able to make a profit on that listing. This one here, our break even is $10.45, so we would need to be lower, and it is for 3 of them. Cookie butter, it appears 1 jar, break even of $5.54, 27 sellers, 16 being FBA. Very competitive, and if we could even find it for a cheaper price, there's really not going to be next to any profit anyways. So that's where a little pro tip is to try to look for multi-packs, because here I can see a 2-pack for it, and the break even is now $11.88. So when you bundle things together, make them a multi-pack, what you're doing here is decreasing the Amazon fees, so you're increasing your profits. Rather than paying, let's say, $5 in fees every time one sells, we'll put 2 together and pay $5 once when it sells. So that's a really good way if you're finding a product, but it's just not making the ends meet for profit. Consider now looking for a multi-pack, because a multi-pack could bring you profit when a single unit probably isn't. Let's just check out the going price for this cookie butter on Google. It's not looking good. Walmart appears that it's third-party sellers, so that's going to be a no-go. So that seller's break-evens, those were just way too low. That's obviously not going to work. So what I do at this point is I kind of just shift gears a little bit. I've gone to a few seller stores in the sellers tab and they just didn't pan out. Does that mean that there's not good sellers there with a ton of products to sell? No, there definitely is. But the few that I clicked on, I was striking out. And that can get frustrating. So when that happens, just kind of change how you're doing things for a minute. Get out of that cycle so that you don't get frustrated and try a different approach. So what I'm going to do now is find a seller that I can see they're a good seller, they have good metrics, and I'm going to pull them into my storefront stalker. So to do this, I put in great value into the search tab. You can really choose anything. That's just one that comes to mind as being a typical arbitrage brand. And let's click here on this French vanilla coffee. So from here, to find a good seller that knows what they're doing, we are going to scroll down to our Keepa, go to data and offers. So we want to filter the first seen. So it doesn't seem like this is a very old listing. The longest people that have been on it are right here, these top 3 for 4 months, and 3 months. But because they've been on it continuously for months, that's to say that they probably know what they're doing. They keep replenishing it. So if they have been successful selling this for 4 months, they probably have other products and other brands that they are also successful with too. So it's an indicator that it's a seller that knows what they're doing. So let's start with this first one here. We're going to take the store name right there, the store ID, and bring it to ProfitGuru. Storefront stalker, we'll paste the ID. And then if you also want, we could filter out the weight and the BSR to make sure that the products aren't too heavy and that they are fast selling products. But I'm just gonna leave it blank for now just to see what the seller has. So I see coffee coming up. That's good. Coffee is super easy to get your hands on. It sells really well, very easy to prep and package. Nike socks, which super good if you are ungated in Nike. Some more Nike. So this definitely looks like an arbitrage seller. Duncan Hines baking mix. Break even is $5.39. If that's just for one box, we could probably say that we could get it for cheaper than that. Quite a few sellers, but definitely could be something we're easily jumping onto and just making a little bit of money. But looking here at the listing, I just clicked on the ASIN and it's actually for a 3-pack. So it did seem like a good price that we could get our hands on for 1, but now that it's for 3, probably not doable. So this could be potential 2 packs, but the break even is $32.30. So I'm going to want to look for getting this for 2 of them to be very top minimum, $25.84. 14 FBA sellers, not too bad. The buy box over here seems like it had a dip in it, but then it came back up. So first I'm gonna check and see what the price goes for. And then if it looks like it's profitable, next I wanna pull up the Keepa just to make sure across time that the $48.69 is the going price. Kind of a high BSR, 82,000, so 3%. It'd be nice to see that number a little lower. So I know that this isn't selling super fast. It's not flying off the shelves, but it could be potential. So let's check Google, and it looks like 1 box is $14.87. So that's really, once we figure in the shipping, I mean, that's like a break even. Frontier Co-op, so we know we could easily get our hands on that. Pack of 2, let's check out the price. And it looks like $21.20. So considering it's a 2-pack, that's not going to work. Suave Essentials Conditioner, 2-pack, 2 FBA sellers, $10.18 break even. Let's try this. So we have Fleet Farms here for $2.09, 30 ounces. Let's pull up the calculator. So the cost price would be $4.18, obviously not including tax. Depending on which area you're in, you'd want to include your tax into that. Shipping to Amazon, it's pretty light, so we'll say 40 cents to estimate. Calculate, so we definitely have profits here. 2 FBA sellers, 5 in general, only 2 of them FBA, so that's really good. There's not a ton of competition on this. Based on its sales rank, 54 estimated sales per month. So that definitely seems like something worth pursuing. And I bet since it's Suave, I could even check my local Walmart if I didn't want to have to order through the Fleet website, because it did look like there was some shipping there. So I would look into that further and see what the shipping is. If I ordered enough units and then I had a ton of units to divide that shipping between, then it's obviously going to cost me less with shipping and wouldn't be a big deal. But I would definitely want to next, before I just order it from there, check out Walmart too and see if maybe I could get it for even cheaper. But this seems like a pretty good listing. I do notice looking over here too that the buy box seems to be pretty funky. It's going up and down and up and down and up and down. So it's not very steady, but it's also not horrible. And considering that there's not like a ton of competition on it, we should be able to sell it at a price that brings us back profit.
Clever Girl Charcoal. Clearly doesn't sell very fast, but only 4 FBA sellers. Let's see what we could get it for. $4.99 at Rite Aid. Let's pull up the calculator. So because this is priced less than $12 and it is less than 3 pounds, we could enroll it into small and light, and you'll see how that does save. If we enroll this into the regular FBA program, after the fees, we would only have 11 cents in profit. That would not even be worth pursuing. But enrolling it in small and light, there's 71 cents in profit. So the ROI here clearly is not strong. It's just over 14%. So personally, that's not anything I would bother pursuing. But again, it is super easy. All you have to do is print an FNSKU, pop it over the barcode, and it's good to go. So it really does not require any time to prep this product, but it's only estimating about 18 sales a month, and you have 5 sellers you're competing against. So you're definitely not going to be able to retire from this listing. If you did want to pursue it, there's a tiny, tiny little bit of profit there, but clearly this is not a very fast seller and there's not a lot of profit. Let's go back to that great value listing and go to the next seller. They were also on it for 4 months, so clearly they probably know what they're doing. I'm going to copy their store ID. And now we see some Bath & Body Works, bronzer, vitamins, and more Bath & Body Works. Bath & Body Works are good to sell in multi-packs like this and when they are doing sales. So when you see like soap sales going on, like buy 5, get 5 free, that's when you can make money selling Bath & Body Works and then finding the listings that have them bundled. Nature Made, I do like to sell this brand, and I do sell gummies when it's not the summer season because gummies are considered meltable. I do sell some gummies during the summer season, but I have to merchant fulfill those. So I have to prep them myself and send them out myself because Amazon will not accept anything that's meltable during those warm months. But Nature Made is really good from Walgreens when they are doing discounts on their vitamins. So a lot of the time, several times a year, they will run buy one, get one free of Nature Made. And then there's usually also another promo code you can throw on top of it, like 20% off. So that's the time to be looking for Nature Made when Walgreens is having those sales. And Trader Joe's, more Bath & Body Works. So let's say I just want to see the seller's grocery items. Lots of Trader Joe's, but what I noticed with Trader Joe's is that there is a law of competition. So for this one in particular, tortilla chips, 50 sellers, 38 FBA. So I avoid that brand just because I know that there's already a lot of arbitrage sellers who are flocking to it, which that is the brand that this seller seems to be selling a ton of. All right, let's move on to First Slave Ventures. We'll put their store ID right here. Hostess, Lipton, shampoo. This Native brand I saw before, something with IP, so I don't go with them. And then here we have those K-Cups, which initially led us to finding the seller. So right here we have great value, 48 count, and this is just a single pack. Buy box is a little funky here. So we have a high buy box, then we see it dropping down and then coming back up. Let's investigate a little more. So the initial listing, we couldn't see this part, but this is for a 2-pack, it's telling us. $42.99 for buy box with shipping over here. And now we're at $51.87. So that's a big price difference. Going across time, we see 55, 54, 49, 45. So it seems like it's fluctuating a bit. Also not a super fast seller. It's in the top 3%, BSR 82,000. Great value, creamy peanut butter and jelly. Pack of 2, break even $6.22, $2.38 a unit. So a cost price of $4.76. Shipping to Amazon, we'll do $40. So we can't enroll this one in small and light because it's priced over $12. But doing regular Amazon fees, we'd have about $1 profit here. Nothing to write home about, but it is some profit. 22.3% ROI, about 37 estimated monthly sales. So an option. I mean, you might not have a catalog full of a ton of home run hitters. You might have a wide variety of products, and each of your products might be making you $1 to $2 in profit. But then it becomes a volumes game. If you're finding a ton of these products just like this one, 100 other products that do the same thing, and you're making a couple of sales a month on all 100, then that's where it really starts to become powerful. So seeing this right here from this point of view, knowing that it's probably only around $1 profit, that doesn't seem like anything. But if we can keep finding products like this and building a huge catalog, something like this is a replens. This is not something that's on sale. We just keep reordering it and restocking it month after month. That's when it starts to become powerful. Once we start building. This listing, jumping on it alone, isn't going to make us rich. But if we can find dozens more that do the same thing, that's when we start to see those dollar signs. Now we have some Equate denture cleansers. Let's click on the ASIN. So it's for a 2-pack, 168 total tabs, and each box has 84. At Walmart, we can see that is going for $3.16. So let's pull that into the calculator. So you can see how when you put one unit, it might not be profitable, but this is for 2 packs. So once those 2 packs come together and you're only paying these fees one time for those 2 packages, then you can see that there's profit to start being made. So think of those branded products that you have all over your house. What brands of things do you use? Start there. Start searching for those products on Amazon, and you can even find sellers that are selling those products, pull them into the storefront stalker. But that's what I tend to find, especially with arbitrage products, that you are more likely to find profit when you are doing multi-packs. Next, here we see another Suave pack of 2, but the problem here is that break even, that's really low. So that's not going to be profitable for us. Let's see if we can pull a seller from paper plates. And just because I'm searching up great value products does not mean that I'm personally just looking for great value products, if that makes sense. Basically, I'm using them as a starting point to guide me to sellers that know what they're doing. And seeing that great value is a brand that arbitrage sellers tend to sell. Like, there's not a lot of other sellers selling great value. That's a typical arbitrage seller brand. So I like to use that brand, not because I'm personally just wanting great value products, but it's helping me to lead me to sellers that I know are arbitrage sellers and that they know what they're doing. So let's come down to Keepa, data, offers. This seller here has been on this listing for 20 months. So clearly that's a seller that knows what they're doing. They're selling great value, so they're probably an arbitrage seller. So I want to see what they're selling. So let's take that seller ID right here and paste it into our stalker. First 3, the Keepa look kind of weird. I don't really like those. Limited edition things like this, these crackers, that's something definitely to keep your eye out for. When things are limited edition, they tend to be a hot commodity and sell for a higher price, especially if you can get a large stock of them once they go out of stock in the stores, but you still have your hands on some, then you're going to get a lot of money for things like that. So always be on the lookout for like weird things or special editions. But this looks like it's for a 2-pack. Break even is not very high. Gluten-free Cheddar Bay biscuits, pack of 2. We can see the gluten-free kind for $4.49 at Big Lots and $4.52 at Walmart. So the break even here, it's just going to be about a break even for us. That's not going to be profitable. I mean, we're not striking much gold right now, but you see how the process is done. And clearly, if you're not trying to talk out your thoughts on what you're doing, once you know what you're doing, you're going to be able to go a lot faster. So yes, you're going to have duds here and there. You're going to click on sellers that they don't have anything that you can sell, or the break even is just too high. You just go back and move on to the next. You really are looking for needles in the haystack. And once you can train your eyes to know what you're looking at, the process does go relatively fast. So it's all a numbers game. Let's say 1 hour time frame. If I'm able to look through 10 sellers' complete storefronts in 1 hour, I will have gone through hundreds of products and maybe found 5 that are profitable. But that's not bad for 1 given hour, especially if those are replens and now I can sell them time after time after time. So selling on Amazon, it's not for the weak. It's not for the bored. It's not for people who cannot sit here and just analyze data for hours on end. And you are going to get frustrated because a lot of things are not profitable, but there is a lot of profit. Needle in a haystack. But it's exciting when you finally do find a good seller, an arbitrage seller, and then things are back to back, boom, boom, boom. You feel like you literally struck gold. Dr. Teal's, another great brand I used to sell a lot as a beginning seller. So not really any home runs from the seller. I feel like they have quite a large variety of products, but none of them are huge money makers. So again, like I was explaining, it becomes a volume number at that point. They're not so much looking at getting a ton of profit per unit. They're looking at having a large catalog and getting small profits across several units. So it's really how you perceive things. Me personally, I would rather not have a catalog of 400 products and only make $1 from them. I mean, that is a good business model, but it's going to be a lot on you to be prepping and keeping up with your stock. That's why me personally, I scroll through a lot of those that are only $1 profit. I'm not saying it's not a good model for some people, but I personally don't have the time to keep those things stocked. So I personally look forward with my catalog having smaller volume catalog, but making sure those products have a higher return. So I don't like to go with anything if it's not at least 30% ROI and making me at least $4 in profit. But if you have the time to keep track of your inventory, then there is definitely nothing wrong with finding all of these things that do only make $1, but having hundreds of them in your catalog because it does add up. But I will say it's a lot to manage and keep track of. But I hope this was helpful for you to see the process. We found a couple of products, but that's how this goes. You don't just source for an hour and come up with 50 products to sell. So this is the real life of how you source, how long it takes, and the needles are there, but you do have to dig through the haystack to find them. them. Like I said, the more you do this, the better you get at it and the faster you get at it. So dig in now, go ahead and try sourcing for yourself. Use this video as a guide and just try it, because that's how you get better at it. And there's endless potential here. Between the sellers and the storefront stalker, I mean, there are literally millions of products that you can source through, and there is profit there. You just have to be diligent enough to put in the time and find it. I hope this was super helpful for you, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.